standing strong, one guiding hand. Truth that rings in everything we do. Red, bright and true. Stars and stripes, forever fly. Freedom's voice will never die. Say it proud, say it true. Welcome to Red, Right, and True.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Red, Right, and True. We are so happy to be here with you once again at the America First Warehouse, the greatest venue in all of the land. And we're going to start by introducing our co-hosts. We have Joe Curry to
Good evening. Hello, everybody. Hope everybody is well. Glad you're joining us.
Patriot Box.
Hello, everyone.
Of course, Mark White,
Good afternoon, everybody.
former member of the Spin Doctors, for those of you who don't know. And our guest tonight is a good friend of mine, Jim Raya.
Hello, everyone. How you doing?
And Jim Raya and Mark White actually know each other from back in the day, because Jim Raya and I used to do a podcast together on another network. And Mark White was actually on one of our shows where we had a political debate. Remember that, Jim?
I do very well.
And it was one of my favorite shows. It was so funny. Jim also got another comic who does a fantastic Trump impersonation to call in. And so Trump kept calling in, and he was like on our side and, you know, all that. So anyway, now Mark is part of our show every week. And I wanted to bring Jim back because if it wasn't for Jim, none of this would have happened. So I wanted to say thank you to Jim.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank you as well.
And of course, Jim is a conservative, or he wouldn't be here. So he was on the conservative side of that
Sometimes
argument.
it's fun to have people on the other side so you can make fun of them, you know.
Right. So we're going to start. We have Mark White picks these amazing videos that set the tone for our discussion. So if you could clue up asset 1 when you're
It's
ready.
going to be asset 3, actually.
Asset 3. And then we'll discuss it after it comes up. But these are clips that are very interesting, and they get the discussion going. So I think they're looking for asset 3 right now.
Asset 3, women can't
There it
vote.
is.
Stop some people from voting that the Trump administration and Republicans don't want to vote.
And who are those people that they don't want to
see
vote?
They're losing. The people that are against their administration. Because they see that that's what's up against. They're up against that right now. And they're scared, and they're trying to push this through. Because there's no reason for it.
Let me be very clear. The Save America Act does not prohibit anyone from voting with the exception of illegal aliens.
Well, there's a lot to be said about that video right there. One of the things is who is against somebody who's not really supposed to vote in an election having the right to vote in an election. Why don't we go with Joe first?
Yeah, the whole thing with the SAVE Act, basically, they're stating that one of the key things is keeping voting legal. You need to have proper identification when you go to vote. Now, a lot of the things that they're saying is with that women that are married or have their maiden name and then have their married name will have a problem getting a proper ID. The one thing they haven't discussed is, and I'm interested, basically, if you need to have a marriage certificate when you get married, and your marriage certificate will show your maiden name. If you bring that along with your birth certificate, I see no reason why you shouldn't have a problem getting a proper ID that you would need. I also think that this would be for new voters, new women voters. I think women that are previously voting, that have previously voted, would not be susceptible to this. So it's just a roadblock that they're trying to put in place. Also, what they're saying with the SAVE Act is that, well, people that are economically distressed, they don't have the wherewithal to get a proper ID. First of all, I looked into this on a previous show that I used to do. It cost the most $20 to get new ID. or an ID. If you are a responsible person, an adult, and a responsible citizen, you need proper ID. You need ID to do everything. You need ID to fly. You need ID to buy alcohol. You need ID to get a room. You need ID to get everything. So if you need that for those other functions, it is not hard to get it to vote. One of the most important things.
As far as, you know, they're saying it's racist. It's a racist thing to have to show an ID to vote. But we're going to get back to, as far as hypocrisy, who remembers something called COVID, where you had to show like a vax card to go to a restaurant or a concert venue, or you wouldn't be allowed to go. And that's just to go to a concert. Something as important as voting in an election for our country, you know, they think you're smart enough to show a vax card, but they're not smart enough to show, you know, something to vote. So Patriot Box, or Jim, did you want to say something?
Patriot Box. Basically, when it comes to voter ID, about 80% of the entire country, both sides of the aisle, feel, you know what, as far we should have voter ID. I would ask the question, does anyone, have you met any adult that doesn't have ID? I've never met anyone who is an adult that didn't have ID. As far as women getting married and not having difficulty getting ID, Bonnie's been married a bunch of times. I don't believe she ever had a problem getting ID.
Most kids between 18 and 21 have 3 or 4 IDs.
Exactly. They have fake IDs to do all kinds of things.
It's also something that concerns me too, even when you go with the proper ID. Like if you go to vote, I go to vote, obviously on Long Island, and basically I don't have to show ID, they have my name on record, but however, they have you sign, do the electrical sign on that, and it doesn't look anything like what my signatures should look for. And I was going to bring up the fact of that. It was late in the day on that. I was going to bring the fact up of that, but that's something that they also have to look at with this electrical sign. It's like when you do something online. Could you please sign? Nobody signs their actual signature the way it's supposed to look. So that's another thing beside having proper ID, is getting rid of that electrical signature. You need to present your signature, the one that shows when you registered, the one that shows on your license.
I'm going to give Jim a chance to talk after I say this. One of the things that is just has to be pointed out is the only people who get to vote are American citizens. Okay, simple as that. Now, I've owned property in multiple states, different towns, different cities. Basically, I'm allowed to vote in one place. All right. Now, I shouldn't be allowed to vote in 3 different locations for the president, but my school taxes are the biggest bill in each of those properties. It was school taxes were the biggest expense I have. And again, I was only allowed to vote in the one place that's my residence, even though I own and pay taxes in the other places. If you're going to mess around with voting laws, shouldn't I be able to vote one time for people when they're in one district? I don't get to vote for the president 3 times, but I should be allowed to vote in a school district for who's paying who I'm paying taxes for. So that's just one of the points. Again, bottom line, you have to be an American citizen over 18 years of age to vote in this country, and if you're not, you don't get to vote.
And Jim, what do you think?
Look, so here's the real issue here. I'm a financial advisor, and many of my clients, they work at the the polls each year for the elections. They volunteer. And last year, a lot of my clients were told in the 2020 election, many people voted twice. They either voted online, they voted with an absentee ballot, okay? They know there was fraud. And they're asking these 70, 80, 85-year-old people to try and keep their eyes open to stop it. They're not going to be able to stop it. We need to have ID with a picture so that when people come in, we can make sure they only vote once. And we also need to update the computer system so that we know on the computer system everyone is only going to get their vote counted one time. The whole premise of our country is we want fair elections, and we want to make sure that Americans are voting for our American president and our American elected officials. So, and it's an 85, or 80% issue. almost everyone agrees with it. The only people who don't agree with it is the Democrats because they want to cheat.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And not only that, the people that work at the polls, and this is nothing against them, I admire them, admiration. They're only doing this once or twice a year. And they get volunteers, and the volunteers are vaguely familiar with what's going on, maybe with the exception of maybe several people at the table. So with voter ID, proper ID will make the job easier. You know, because sometimes these people are like, all right, yeah, this looks good. You need the proper ID, and it's just another safeguard to have a fair election. And you want to know something? The Democrat, it would, benefit the Democrats. So if there is an election, us conservative Republic, we have nothing to challenge. It was done fair, proper ID, and we wouldn't be challenging it.
And Mark, we have about a minute. What do you think of this?
Well, the first thing is they are definitely cheating. And on top of that, I had an argument with a liberal about the age because like somebody else just brought it up. So if you're under 8, we don't know how many under 18 people showed up because they don't have to show ID in New York, Oregon, and Washington State, everywhere where Kamala won. We have no idea how many underage kids showed up and voted. And the other thing, too, that you mentioned about the ban, you have to show an ID for, COVID. That was one of the main reasons why I decided to get another bass player, was because I didn't want to show up and have to show ID or show a vaccine card, because that's insane to me. So I wasn't going to do that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, as far as there were dead people voting with the mail-in ballots, that was like so blatant.
The absentee ballots are part of the huge part. They're a big problem.
Absolutely. They have to get a handle on that as well. So, Trump is trying to save really, it is saving America, because the next time we vote.
It's just common sense.
It's common sense, and it benefits Democrats and Republicans because majority and people should vote, and that's the way it is. So stay tuned, and we'll be back in 3 minutes.
You've worked hard and saved, but inflation and increased money supply are eroding your buying power. Protect and grow your wealth with physical gold and silver. Sound Money. With a Sound Money wallet, your wealth stays in your control. Buy fractionally, vault securely, ship directly, and instantly liquidate your gold and silver at the highest buyback price in the industry. Real money, real ownership. Visit tafwsoundmoney.info or scan the QR code and start securing your financial future today.
The America First Ultra MAGA Store. For all your MAGA needs. We sell t-shirts, tumblers, flags, hats, sneakers, bumper stickers, and a whole lot more. The most patriotic America First retail store. The America First Ultra MAGA Store.
How's it going, y'all? I'm Bill Clinton. Now instead of a poke, you're getting a smack. What have I done?
Bookman, you're up.
It's ma'am. I can't just tell you this stuff.
Hey, I got hairy legs. They turn blonde in the summer.
Because we're gonna treat you like family.
I'm pretty sure I'm a woman.
No, you're not, Steve. Oh!
Do you like camping? The entire city is your campground.
There is no law. Anything goes. It's a Diddy cruise.
Corporate transfer. Fine professional, moving and storage, and inventory management.
America First Warehouse was really the most patriotic venue that you can ever imagine. We wanted to build something for people to be able to come to and feel so comfortable and so relaxed because there is nothing out there like it. We give an opportunity for people to really feel good about themselves and about this great country.
Good evening and welcome back to Red, Right, and True. One of the things we discussed before we went to break was the SAVE Act, and that was part of the stalemate that we have between Congress. One of the things we also have in there during the stalemate is the whole thing of the Department of Homeland Security, which is part of the government shutdown, which is going 32 days on this. And basically what it is that they want to cut funding for ICE. They also want ICE not to wear masks, and they want towns want to have more say on ICE coming into their neighborhoods. Basically, we need to have ICE. And the interesting thing is they're saying that, well, we're doing this to, so ICE won't get funding. ICE is funded. It has still been funded. And if I'm correct, it's probably going to be funded for another 3 years. So it really has nothing to do with the funding for ICE, how they want to curtail them. What has been a problem is what they're cutting. Air travel is one thing that they have not been paying the air traffic controllers, and flights have been backed up, and controllers have been quitting. They just can't keep the job anymore. They need to get something more stable, so they're quitting. So we're losing aircraft controllers. That's what they do. They control aircraft in the sky. FEMA, God forbid we have a hurricane, and hurricane season is coming up. If we have a hurricane or a major disaster, they cut funds to FEMA. Another thing they cut is the Coast Guard. Now, the Coast Guard, not only do the serve in a crisis if there is a situation with a boat or a ship, they also guard the coast against drugs coming in. So they're cutting funding to that.
Joe, I'd like to jump in here.
Sure.
All right. And first of all, basically what the stalemate or the logjam or the lack of funding in Congress is about is the Democrats do not like ICE. Okay? They don't like the way they do things, and they're trying to push a change through. The lack of funding, though, doesn't affect ICE. As Joe said, they are funded. So now
the big,
what's
beautiful
not
deal.
being funded is the air traffic controllers, I believe the TSA. By the way, for those of you who haven't heard, we're at war right now. Yep. So Homeland Security, really, there's never been a more important time to be funded. Again, Iran has very limited things that they can do to us here in the continental United States, but cyber attacks, that's protected by Homeland Security not being funded. So basically, to frame it a slightly different way, the Democrats are tying up the money, they're holding up things in Congress to get their way. It has nothing to do with ICE. It's a 2-year-old having a tantrum in the supermarket.
Absolutely. Patriot Box, I couldn't have said it better myself. It's like this is the time when we need protection more than ever. And once again, it's like, whose side are the Democrats on? Again, America first means we are protecting our citizens, all our citizens, and they should not be messing with that money.
Bonnie, I'm going to jump in
yes.
here one more time because you talked about America first. Whose side are they on? Yes. I think when we saw the State of the Union, we saw exactly whose side they were on and whose side they were not on. And
they just hate Trump.
When you can't stand up, Trump called them out. Who's more important, Americans or illegal immigrants? And they sat there. Who's more important, American soldiers, people, Medal of Honor, etc. And they sat there. They basically told you, we're not interested in Americans. We're interested in our power base. We're interested in our party. And as far as American citizens, that has nothing to do with our interests.
Well, it all goes back to the segment we were talking about at the beginning, Save the America Act, is that's their voting base. Why do you think they hate ICE? Is because Biden brought all those illegals in. They gave them free everything, and in exchange, that was going to be their new voter base. I mean, it's I don't understand how normal people can't see that was the plan all along, and that's continuing to be the plan, and that's why they don't want the Save America Act. That's why they don't put Americans first, because these, as Patriot Box always points out, Patriot Box, as you say it so well, what was Chuck Schumer's line where we knew exactly what this whole thing about the illegal immigrants were about?
I'm going to try to quote him, or at least paraphrase him. Chuck Schumer said, right to everyone, and this was not that long ago, he said, well, we want to give these illegal, well, he didn't call them illegal immigrants, but I will. He said, we want to give these illegal immigrants a pathway to citizenship. All right, so
that's their plan, Jim.
Pathway to vote. But, you know, if you right now, even Democrats, all these government workers who are not getting paid, you have to remember that when you go to the polls and you vote in November. You have to remember that they're the ones who are stopping you from getting your paycheck every week. But you know what? The senators and the congressmen, they're all getting paid. Their paychecks have not stopped. And if they're going to still get paid, then I think all the government workers should get paid. But the problem is the American people who are not getting paid are not going to the polls and blaming the right people.
Absolutely.
And what you're saying is spot on now, Jim. Just to let you know, every week I harp on the midterms coming up.
Yes.
Keys to the midterms. And one of the keys to the midterms is pointing out that these sat during the State of the Union, pointing out that they are holding this up because they don't want illegal immigration enforced. They are sitting there having air traffic being compromised with people not getting paid. And we need, and I'm going to say this again, I'm going to look right at the camera and say, us as patriots need make this known and need our elected officials go out, and us as well, and point this out to the country, because we need to win the midterms, and we need for the country and the Democrats to see what they are and what they're standing for.
When did the Democrat Party become the party of human trafficking and drug dealers? That's who these illegal immigrants are. They came to this country, okay, and they're dealing drugs. They're affecting the youth of this country. The fentanyl here in Long Island is crazy. It's way down now since Trump's gotten in, which is great, okay? But when did people become pro-human trafficking and pro-drugs? No one's for that. No one's pro-crime. Neither Democrats or Republicans should be for that.
Exactly, it's common sense. Patriot Box, after you make your statement, we're going to go to asset 1.
Asset 6.
Asset 6.
Okay.
I didn't know they were in order, I'm sorry.
My fault.
As far as the common sense and what we voted, what we want in this country, again, what we have a problem with is the radical left, not the mainstream people. Unfortunately, the radical left is also controlling the media. So the average person, Democrat or Republican, only hears one side of the story. And that's the problem. When you control the media, you control
that wouldn't even matter if they even heard the other side of the story, because they're always dismissing the other side of the story. I go through it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I got friends who are just never going to accept the truth. And when they can't back up whatever they're believing, they just call me a racist and then block me.
Right.
So you're never going to get them to figure out
Those are
anything.
the ones that have
what
Trump
we're trying to
derangement
do
syndrome.
is
Right.
to make sure independents understand what's going on.
And Asset 6 is going to be the perfect thing. Asset 6, a woke woman on the war.
For or against?
Against.
Why?
We don't belong there.
How come?
I'm not a Trump fan. He ran on America First, getting us out of forever wars.
He did prevent 8 wars before the Iran-USA.
That's bullshit. That's bullshit. You know that.
No, I don't know that.
He's lying. He did not stop 8 wars.
Okay.
He's done 0. Nothing.
So not even 7 or 6?
No.
0.
0.
Oh my God, it's
You
like
see,
they
you
live in a
can't fight
land of
that.
delusion.
You ask them one thing he hasn't done. They couldn't name it. They couldn't name it. One thing he didn't do. One thing you feel that he didn't do, and they won't be able to do it.
Well, in real life, Joe and I deal with these people because we're in the comedy world, and when you try to have a discussion, as Mark says, not only don't they listen, but they get very aggressive. Like, we're not even going to say who it is, but somebody actually put something on Joe's page. I'll let you talk about it, Joe, since it happened to you.
We may have to do in another segment, but somebody put something on my page, said, Joe, what do you think of this? And it was a U.S. citizen being detained by the authorities for 9 hours. She was a U.S. citizen, and how could she be detained for 9 hours. It turns out this woman was an absolute fraud. She was lying. She also had a record of lying, a criminal record as well. And I called this woman out that posted against me, and I said, I guess you neglected to look at the facts on this. So basically, they do things out of they all react out of emotion. And look, I have family members that you can't even discuss it because they're far left. And they don't want to discuss, because what happens is you start to state the facts and they get upset because they're reacting out of emotion and they don't have the facts to back it up. Also, my therapist, too. I just got an argument with her.
Oh, my God.
You know,
but can I ask you,
But who wants Iran to have nuclear weapons?
Apparently they
did
do.
What the American president's main job is to make sure he keeps the American people safe. He had no other choice if he knew that they were close to getting a nuclear weapon and they knew that they were going to use it to us. They always chant death to America. He absolutely, positively had to go in there. He had no other choice.
And they had
but you got to understand another thing, too. How would they use that nuclear weapon? Has anybody ever even thought of that? You think they would just shoot a missile at America? No, they would get some terrorists to bring it into the country or somewhere and set it off. That's how they would do it.
Yeah, and also the reason we went in is because Netanyahu told Trump all of them were in one spot. Now, in conflicts past, they've had a situation where all major players were in one spot, and they didn't do anything because it wasn't going to be politically correct. Trump, because he loves this country and guides this country, knew that they were there, and he took action.
He had the balls to actually do something. All the other presidents have been saying down the line, we have to do something about Iran. We have to do something about Iran. And then none of them ever did. And, you know, I have such faith in my president. I know that he knows what he's doing. He has a lot of information that we are not privy to. And I trust his judgment. And for that clip of the woman to say he's done nothing, I mean, what planet does she live on? I don't understand.
Don't you think he's saying right now, if I want something done, I better do it myself because I don't trust that the next president will do it. And I'm glad that he's being very decisive. He's the best president in my lifetime. He's doing a great job.
And
we'll be right back.
We will be right back.
Most people think they have options when searching for the best deals when they travel. But here's the shocking truth. 100% of the major travel agencies are owned by just two entities, Expedia and Booking Holdings. They claim to offer the lowest rates, but due to the hotel rate parity agreement, they all have the same pricing, limiting genuine competition. When you book through these sites, you act as your own travel agent, but the profits are going to organizations that don't support our patriot values. We cannot allow that to continue. So, we decided to make travel great again by starting a US-based travel membership platform, mypatriottravel.com. We are patriots helping patriots. Together, we can disrupt the travel industry by not spending our hard-earned dollars supporting the radical left. For just $29.99 per month, you gain access to true wholesale rates on travel, saving you on average 35% and up to 65%. Book as often as you like, with no limits. Keep your hard-earned dollars in your pocket and spend them on things you need and want to support. Go to mypatriottravel.com/TAFW and grab your membership today. mypatriottravel.com/TAFW. Making travel great again.
Are you a true American? Then it's time to get connected. Download the America First Media and Television app and stay up to date with real news, bold voices, and live events from the America First Warehouse. From national broadcasts and exclusive shows to comedy nights, concerts, and special events. It's all right at your fingertips. No filters, no spin, just America First. Download the America First Media and Television app today and be part of the movement.
I'm sure you guys remember the platinum single, Justice for All, with Donald Trump and the J6 Prison Choir. We'll get ready for round two. We're coming out with Anthem of the Free with High Res and the J6 Prison Choir. It's coming out now. It's pre-sale until December 19th when it drops. Get yours on all platforms, Google Play, Apple iTunes. Get it. It's going to be hot.
Justice for all, our voices ring. The anthem of the free.
It's me, Joe the Box, the America First Warehouse, most patriotic venue in all the land.
The America First Warehouse, a beacon for all to see, a symbol of unity. For the patriots of America, we stand tall and free. In the America First Warehouse, where our hearts will always be.
Hello and welcome back to Red, Right, and True. On this segment, basically I want to discuss several things that you come up upon on the internet. Now, I discussed it before about an acquaintance of mine that called me, talking to the mic, Joe, that called me out on something that she purposely posted onto my to my page. Now, I have another one, and this one is from a personal friend of mine. Actually, we did a show together for years. Now, basically what I did was there was a post, a meme, and he hates memes. It was a meme of two Ayatollahs on a pile of cash, and it was a post right on the bottom of two Ayatollahs in graves. And what the meme was is that basically the first on a pile of cash, the memes under previous administrations on a pile of cash, and the second one in the grave was Ayatollahs under the Trump administration. So basically, my friend, like I said, close personal friend, we used to do a show together. Your meme forgot to add the caskets of 13 men and women we lost fighting this war so far. Political memes are stupid and geared to stupid people. And basically what I brought up is when I don't just post something and send a meme. It has to be meaning, and it also has to be something that I can back up. So what he did was, and like, you know, we did lose 13 men and women in the conflict so far, which is thank you for their service. God rest their souls, and thank you again. But what I did point out is that 13 service members were killed in a suicide bombing in Abu Ghraib in Kabul, the Beirut bombing attacks of 220 U.S. Marines. As for the girls' school, yes. It turned out that the information that we had was on a Republican Guard site that was in that compound. And
Can I interrupt you for a second? Because I happen to know the person he's talking about, and it's just very hypocritical that they are enraged about some deaths and they ignore completely other deaths. And this person is very, you know, Joe considers him to be the middle of the spectrum of liberalism.
I call him a libtard myself.
I say he's very to the left, and it really upsets me. First of all, the left can't meme, so he's jealous of the memes. They have no sense of humor, so they cannot meme because you have to have a sense of humor to meme.
He does have a sense of humor. He's a comic. But he gets very indignant on memes because he doesn't feel that people do their research when they post a meme. I do.
Who cares? It's your page.
Well, I understand.
You could put on whatever you want, and if he doesn't
and
like
he
it,
knows
he can scroll by.
Right.
I mean, would you go on his page, like, you know, and if he put a meme, would you be like, oh, memes are stupid? And again,
yeah.
Mark said it well. Mark said it in a past show. They think they're better than us. They literally think they are superior morally, and they have.
But Bonnie, the facts are not on their side. 99% of the people in Iran that have been killed by their own government, not by us. Even if you count all the dictators that we killed and everyone else, 99% of the people, they've killed, what, 35, 40,000 of their own people. So they don't have the facts right. That's the problem. They just have Trump strange syndrome. They don't have the facts right. If they had the facts right, I would listen to them.
But Joe always has the facts right. Look at all the papers he has on his lap right now. That person doesn't care about the facts. And the other person we talked about previously doesn't care. Did she ever respond to all? You gave her a very, very complex answer. Have you heard back from her? No, of course not, because she doesn't care.
I got to tell you though, the person that I'm going actually is very good with the facts. But the one thing that he pointed out, and like I said, the bombing of that girls' school is absolutely horrible. However, I also pointed out to him how many children were murdered on October 7th.
He doesn't care about the children on October 7th because it doesn't fit his narrative. He only cares about what fits his narrative.
I got to jump in.
Go ahead, Podcast Box.
So your friend Joe, he's worried about 13 Americans who have died so far. And yes, it's a terrible thing. How many
To keep all of
Americans,
us safe.
How many Americans have died in the last 47 years when you have this nation that sponsors terror throughout the world? I remember 9/11. Do you remember that? Again, all of this, but all at once, people who are, I'm going to call them libtards, because that's what they are. They pick and choose who's important and who's, those 13 people. Well, the 2 people that ICE killed. I'm going to say something very controversial here. In 2026, more transgender people killed innocent people than ICE agents. ICE agents did result in 2 people who probably deserved it, but again, that's my opinion and I'm entitled to it. ICE was a result, there was 2 deaths as a result of ICE. How many transgendered shootings have there been and how many people have died? It's a lot more. So do we pick on the transgenders now? No, the point is that you can't just pick and choose to make
But
blanket
Patriot Box,
statements.
they're hypocrites, because the thing is, they're saying, okay, we're for women and we're for transgenders and gays and lesbians, and that's fine if they're for that. But the bottom line is Iran, they kill people if they find out that they're gays or lesbians or transgenders.
They'll throw you off a roof.
Right, and they're totally against women. So why are they supporting the people that are the most against what they say they believe in? They're hypocrites.
It's the Trump derangement syndrome is so real. They would rather our country, I think, get bombed by a nuclear bomb than be wrong about Trump. I mean, I that's what I get from looking at what I'm seeing on social media, and I hope that you would root for your country. I mean, even when Joe Biden was our president and I was like, I felt like he was asleep at the wheel. I didn't want our country to fail, right?
When Obama caught Osama bin Laden, mostly because of things Bush did, but when Obama caught Osama bin Laden, I didn't root against our country and say, no, I like Osama bin Laden. No, not at all, okay? Even though he was a Democratic president, I, at that time, cheered for America, because America comes before whether our president's a Republican or Democrat, and our country has lost their way on that. If Trump had the cure for cancer, they'd be against it.
Yeah.
And that's ridiculous.
Absolutely.
And a lot of them are hypocrites. Now, with that in mind, we'd love to go to Asset 5 with a hypocritical white woman.
Was your anger there for Obama when he did it multiple times as well without congressional approval? Why does it suck?
Because I think Trump sucks.
He just liberated the Iranian people.
Because he just went ahead and did something he shouldn't have done.
Let me ask you a question. Was your anger there for Obama when he did it multiple times as well without congressional approval?
No.
So it's only for Trump, not Obama?
Yes.
Do you see the hypocrisy there a little bit?
I guess.
You didn't care when Obama was dropping bombs on 8 different countries.
That's perfect, Mark. That was a perfect video.
That's mental illness.
It's a
You're
mental
seeing it.
illness.
She's articulating to you just how mentally insane she is.
But
On
this
purpose,
war
I
is the
might add.
Democrats' fault. I'm sorry, Mark. I was
You
saying
didn't hear
this
a word
war
that I
is the
just said. I was
Democrats'
speaking
fault.
and
And the
nobody
reason
could hear
why
me.
it's the Democrats' fault is because Obama, okay, was the one who went there and gave them all that money. Okay, and then Biden's the one to let them all into our country. So if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't even be having to fight this war right now, because they would never have had the money to produce all those nuclear weapons. So Obama and Biden were a huge part of the problem here.
They created the problem.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, I want to call out a Facebook page on the hypocrisy. It's called Long Island, New York, NY, Long Island, NY. And they constantly put out very far left memes and comments. They had one the other day that said MAGA has a low IQ, and they actually believe coal, which spews mercury and cancer, is cleaner than Minwills. LOA, LOL, ha 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 ha. Nobody ever said that. Nobody ever said that. Okay? Obviously, a windmill is cleaner than coal. But, however, coal accounts for 36% of our energy, where wind power is 10%. Wind is unreliable. Wind sometimes is not sustainable when you redo the fins, the turbines, and basically coal is a good renewable source and powers it. Basically, with the infrastructure that we have and the power grid, especially with a lot of AI that's going to be using a lot of electricity, coal is still a viable measure. Is wind cleaner than that? Yeah, it is, but it is not going to satisfy the needs. And also another thing I want to put through there has also been something that to the effect that the wind turbines out at sea have been a problem with sea life. Now they're saying that's not true, but it messes with the sonar from that. And basically, that's not true. I think it's a lie being perpetuated by an administration, maybe a Democratic administration, that wanted to cover that up.
Patriot Box, did you want to say something?
Yes, I did. One of the simple memes or things that we saw back in the past was the person with the electric car plugged into the grid saying, "I'm saving the world right now." Well, they're still hooked into the grid and the power supply and where they're burning fossil fuel. So again, there's no free lunch, people, all right? And they take these elitists and attitudes that, oh, I'm saving the world. But mining the lithium to make the batteries is actually more detrimental than carbon, because if you plant a tree, you get rid of the carbon in the air. So again, I'm not going to argue science because most of them don't have the capability to even understand basic science, but the point is that it's nonsense, but they're only interested in the part that's of interest to them, and your facts and reality has nothing to do because it's how they feel.
There's more oil in all of Alaska than the Middle East. Okay, we have the oil in Alaska could probably erase our national debt if we sold off that oil to the majors. Okay, so absolutely, maybe a few polar bears will die, but you know what? The good outweighs the bad tremendously. So it's not like a zero-sum game here. It doesn't work that way.
But it's also, as far as, again, the moral superiority is what Joe is talking about. Who forgot about when Elon Musk, joined President Trump? They were all, buying his electric-saving car, and as soon as he joined Trump, they started graffitiing the cars.
They started burning them.
Derangement syndrome.
Absolutely,
I mean, that's
TDS.
the perfect analogy of it. They didn't really care about saving the planet because as soon as Elon went to Trump's side, that went out the window. They didn't give a F about that. So anyway, I wanted to plug Michael Loftus is coming to the warehouse this Saturday. Me and Patriot Box are going to be here, and we will be right back. Thank you, everybody.
Have you noticed your money just doesn't stretch like it used to? Your paycheck feels lighter, and your savings aren't growing. The culprits? Inflation and increased money supply. They've both been quietly eating away at your purchasing power for years. Today, the dollar's value has dropped significantly. You feel it every time you spend money on goods and services. Back in 1965, $1 or an ounce of silver could buy you a gallon of milk. Fast forward to today. That same dollar barely buys a couple of coffee creamers, while an ounce of silver would get you 8 gallons of milk. Gold and silver have held their value for centuries. If you had 2,500 ounces of silver back in 1965, you could buy a brand new Ford Mustang. Today, 2,500 ounces of silver would buy you 2 Mustangs. Similarly, in the year 2000, 628 ounces of gold would buy a new $170,000 home. Today, 628 ounces would buy you a $2,500,000 home. The problem? 95% of Americans don't own physical gold or silver. They think it's too complicated and too expensive, but it doesn't have to be. We offer a membership program that allows you to buy gold or silver with as little as $1. You can buy fractional amounts, safely vault them, or have them delivered to your doorstep, and you can liquidate them whenever you want at the highest buyback price in the industry. Ready to protect your wealth and keep your purchasing power? Scan the QR code or go to tafw.soundmoney.com to learn more.
If the vote count is accurate, then how come the number of voters is different? And if it's not accurate, then why was it certified? We are suing Letitia James and the New York State Board of Elections for a conspiracy against fundamental rights. This is not about who won. It's not about what party. It's about the fact that they don't care about your rights.
Live from Studio 6B on a Friday night, live at the America First Warehouse. Live at the America First Warehouse on a Friday, Real America's Voice, all across the country, 103.9 LI News Radio, all across your radio, Suffolk County, Long Island.
It's me, Joe the Box. And I'm John the Blanket with the America First podcast.
That's what I'm talking about. The Fred Rubino podcast coming to you from the America First Warehouse.
Welcome back to the America First Warehouse. What we're still doing? Fighting! Every day, all day long.
Welcome to the Patriots Podcast. Good evening, everyone.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the On the Right Side podcast here at the America First Warehouse in Long Island, New York.
Shane Jenkins here with another episode of Liberty's Cage.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to our podcast, Red, Right, and True.
We are streaming live on America First Media and Television app.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Kevin Downey Jr. podcast. Be free, stay free.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. So in this segment, what we're going to do is we don't want you to think that we're only for the right and that we can't see any other perspective in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about some things that we like on the left, okay, and how they relate to things. I think the problem right now with the left is they've gone so woke and so far to the left, okay, that the average American just does not understand it. It doesn't make any sense. And we were talking about people like Bill Maher and Stephen A. Smith. They're gaining all this popularity right now. Now, they completely don't agree with Trump, and they're definitely liberals, and they're not Republicans, okay, even though Stephen A. Smith calls themselves a centrist. But the point is, at least they're rational. They don't say there is no crime. They don't say that human trafficking is good. They don't say that crime is good. They don't say, oh, you know, we didn't let any illegals into this country. And I think Republicans could respect people who say, all right, you know what? They at least admit that something's happened. Fetterman, all right? At least he's being like, he understands, yes, the war is important. This is something we have to do. So we don't hate all people from the left. We just want them to be rational. And the woke has gone too crazy.
Absolutely,
That's a great point.
And the thing about the people that you brought up, they're centrists, and for years and years and years they were centrist. Beginning with the Obama administration, and then going even worse during the Biden administration, you have the far left contingent, way far left, and it's moving out, and the Democratic Party,
they're letting them take over their party. There's not enough of people to say anything against them. You've got the squad and you know, so the enemy from within, they are in our government. They hate our country. I mean, how could you have somebody represent your country who hates your country and puts their own country before their own America?
Well, Anthony Cumia has a theory, and his theory is this, that the Democratic Party is letting themselves go so far left that the country is like, we can't, you know, Democrats are saying, you know, this is getting out of hand. We can't have this. And before I don't know if it's going to be during the midterms, but it may be at the next presidential election, they're going to find a candidate that is going back to moderate. And going back to moderate, the regular Democrats could go, okay, we can go with this. The party's starting to straighten the ship. You might have people that are Republican or conservatives that are going, well, you know what, I am not so MAGA. I might want to go to the Democratic Party because they've got back to being centralists. So it's a very interesting theory to see where it goes.
I love Anthony, but I don't agree with that. I think that a lot of these people from the Democrat side that are centrists, like I love Fetterman. At least he's a normal guy, but he's alone. He's on an island unto himself. Patriot Box, did you want to say something?
There's just so much to say. I don't even know where to start. Again, it just comes right back to, are you for America first? When did MAGA, the concept of making America great again, that's nationalism. Shouldn't we be proud of our country? When did that become, instead of being a nationalist saying, I'm proud of my country, that became, you're a racist fascist because I want my country to be number one. The place I live, I care about my team, my home, my people. When did that become a bad thing? And that's the problem you have with the radical left. They've turned something that should be pretty much common sense into a negative.
The Republicans have to be careful because we're not going to get another candidate like Donald Trump. Yep. He's got tremendous personality, and he knows what the American people are thinking. And people like that, and they like him as a candidate. Okay, he's really the people's president. And we have to be careful in that next election. I only think there's one thing that can beat the Republicans, okay? And that is basically affordability, okay? Income inequality. Income inequality, I think, that is something that could trip up the Republicans, and I think that's what we have to be careful of in the next election, because they are going to run someone more to the center. They're going to abandon this woke stuff because they know they can't win on it.
I just have to say something as far as, that's a great point, Jim, but look what happened when they were promised free stuff from Mamdani, okay? How is that going for them? First of all, they were talked about, they were going to, make the rent more affordable. They're going to make the rent much less affordable. What happened to all the free grocery stores? Maybe America can learn from the mistake of New York City that empty promises are going to lead you down a very, very destructive path. Joe?
Well, it almost goes to Anthony's point and Jim's point where it's going to happen. You could see the results of happening already, where Democrats are going to go, you want to know something? Going with the far left hack is not working. I think we better go back to a more moderate candidate in cities and towns. And I think that's going to have an effect on the election. I think that they're going to, it's maybe a master plan or something that's just going to fall into their lap. Like I said before, we need to push how the country's going, and also the economy. The economy will come back with the tariffs and everything, but we need to show in the supermarket. We also need to see that healthcare is being addressed a little bit more than they have. They need to have a better plan on that.
I thought Obama fixed all of that.
Yeah, it was.
That's what he told me.
No, but with the craziness of the left, I'd love to go to Asset 4, where a gentleman says a 2- and a 7-year-old disappeared. Asset 4, please.
That a 2-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 7-year-old, all U.S. citizens, all born in the United States, were deported this week.
Well, he's sending the kids back and not deporting, but sending them back with their parents because the parents were illegal immigrants. So Trump is sending the kids back with their parents. Remember when you guys were literally complaining about, oh my God, he's separating kids from their parents. Oh my God, the trauma. So yes, he's sending them back with their parents so they can be with them. Because what is a 2-year-old supposed to do here? Like by themselves. They can take care of themselves. But those kids are 18, and when they turn 18 years old, they can come back in the U.S. legally. So, yeah, that's why he's doing that. He's giving you guys what you guys are complaining about. So he's not separating parents from kids anymore. Congratulations. You got what you wanted.
I love her.
Yeah.
Listen, no matter how far left you go, it's never far enough. These people are never going to learn. All this moderate stuff you guys are talking about, it's never going to happen. They're always going to have a far left as possible be running or doing something, because the people are far left now. Not just the politicians, but they've taken their people. So just like with the COVID thing, you got people still walking around with masks. Once these people have been conditioned, they cannot go back to being reasonable. It's never going to happen.
Everything for free.
I see the Democrats going as far left as humanly possible until there's nothing left.
That's good for the Republicans.
Right. And
Yes,
also,
I know.
And also the younger voters feel like they're being disenfranchised. They don't have the work ethic that our generation did, and they want everything for free. They don't want to work for it. And basically, when you have a candidate that's young as themselves coming out and say, I will give you free this and free that, these seem to go, you know what, that sounds like a great idea, until they see what's being taken out of their paycheck. And when they find out that a majority is being taken out of their paycheck, they're going to change their tune on what's going on.
Nope.
Yeah. As we are going, we'd like to thank some people. First of all, Bonnie was mentioning that Michael if I pronounce it Loftus is going to be live here at the America First Warehouse. It's going to be Saturday, March 21st. Doors open at 8 p.m. Show starts at 9 p.m. And then check us out at American Warehouse, theamericanwarehouse.com for the information on that. That's going to be a great show. Also, basically, I'm going to...
He's got a lot of papers there.
Anywho, we'd like to thank the America First Warehouse and the production studio. Thank you so much for everything they do for us and for America. Check them out, theamericafirstwarehouse.com, and go to under events. Also, we'd like to thank the affiliates and sponsors, TAFW Sound Money Wallet at taf-soundmoneywallet.com, My Patriot Travel at mypatriottravel.com/TAFW, My Pillow, comfy pillow, you fall right asleep with that. mypillow.com/TAFW, or call 1-800-889-2067. Tally Honey Gold, Maha Gold, tallyhoneygold.com/TAFW. Download the America First Media and Television app, available at App Store and Google Play. Check out afshows.com. You can find us there. Check out the shows, and you also have the live shows. Also, I can't be serious all the time. I need to be a buffoon. I am going to be at the America First. I'm here right now. I'm going to be at Mohegan Sun tomorrow night up at Comics Roadhouse. Check that out. It's going to be a 10 p.m. show, and basically go to comicsroadhouse.com.
And Jim Ray, do you want to talk about how people can find you and what you do?
I'm a financial advisor. If you'd like, my office is located in Ridgewood, New York. I also live in Garden City, New York. You can reach me at 516-652-3041. You get a free consultation. Just give me a call. I'll come on out to you. You can come out to me, and I'll review whatever you have absolutely free.
Yes.
Also, Patriot Box, did you want to say something?
Not a darn thing.
Because you have the microphone to your mouth. So
Mark, you were shaking your head before. Did you want to say something?
Mark?
You were shaking your head before. Did you want to say something? No?
Yeah, the people you're talking about are never going to figure it out. I'm telling you right now. It's too late. You might get, like, you have the walk away movement, but that's fine. But there's people, they're just not going to figure it out.
Well,
they're going to go all the way, bring their cities down to a disaster. You think those people in New York City have learned a lesson? They have not learned a lesson, trust me. That's all I got to say about that.
So in the minute we have left, who do you think will be the Republican nominee next presidential race?
Well,
Bonnie, quickly. Everyone give one. We got
I
1
mean,
minute.
who would I would like? Because I don't know
Who's
who
going to
would
be the Republican
Mark is
nominee?
talking.
I like Marco Rubio.
Mark Rubio, he says. Good guess.
I believe Marco Rubio.
I'm going to go with Rubio, just with his strides that he's making as Secretary of State.
I think he's going to end up being the Vice President, Rubio. But the thing is, I definitely think that he's the most appealing to the left. The left doesn't hate him as much as they hate the rest of the other people. So I think he'd have the best chance.
I think they hate all the people.
No, they do. I said as much.
Yeah.
As much.
And you know, again, we push this every time. Get out and vote in the midterms like your life depends on it, because it does. A lot of people, if it's not a presidential election, they stay home. You cannot afford to stay home. These people want to change our country the way it is and turn it into what's happening into New York City. They
I
want
love
to
the way
do that.
Trump does what he says he's going to do. Other people who run for office don't do that. He's done that, and I really admire that.
Great. And thank you for joining us on Red, Right, and True. We'll see you next week. Have a great week.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
A beacon for all to see, a symbol of hope, a symbol of unity. For the patriots of America, we stand tall and free in the America First Warehouse, where our hearts will always be. The America First Warehouse, a beacon for all to see, a symbol of hope, a symbol of unity. For the patriots of America, we stand tall and free in the America.